What is up everyone, and we are back with another guide about Phantasy Star Online 2. Today we are talking about the most overpowered S-grade augment in my opinion. And it's Lifesteal. If you don't know what S-grade augments are, they are augments that have a 100% transfer rate and only certain weapons can equip these certain augments. They go from S-grade 1 through 5 for weapons and S-grade 6 through 8 for units. Each S-grade set is different and certain S-grade augments are locked onto those sets. For example, Lifesteal is an S4 augment and only equipable in the S4 slot, meaning only weapons with S-grade 4 augment slots can equip Lifesteal. And Lifesteal is finally here, and we have a way to sustain ourselves rather than just using mates and atomizers. When you first look at Lifesteal, you might think that it only heals you 30 health for every attack and photon art, and you are totally wrong. What it actually does is every tick of damage dealt from your character, including your mag, will heal you for 1% of damage dealt up to 30 health per instance. For example, Ranger's basic attack has 3 shots. That means if you have Lifesteal, each one of those shots will heal you for 30 health. That means one basic attack shot will heal you for 90 health if you do enough damage. So as a Ranger, we have a customized skill called Slide Burst that constantly shoots bullets. And yes, each one of those bullets will heal you for 30 health every hit if you do enough damage, and it's even better as a twin machine gun user because their attack is much faster than ours. That means if you use Slide Burst and you're at 1 health, you can get to max health within seconds. On top of that, if you didn't notice, I said your mag too. So each time your mag deals damage, it heals you for 30 health if your mag is strong enough. On average, for me, it's about 1 to 3 health per hit. So what is so game changing about this Lifesteal augment? What it does for me is it changes my aspects of my equipment dramatically. First off, this heal is insanely good, so that means you can use less healing focused items. So if you use the rings with Mate Maniac or Atomizer Fanatic and HP Restorate, you can disregard these and pick something else that can fit your needs. Then comes your mag. Nearly all players put HP Recovery A as all of their trigger actions. With Lifesteal healing you for around 100 HP per second, you no longer need all these HP Recovery A trigger actions, and you can now change things up a bit. You now add other trigger actions like Status Ailment B, which gives you a 25% chance to clear a status effect on your character with a 12-minute cooldown per device. So with maxed out trigger devices, with this you can ensure your character is going to be nearly immune to all status effects. The initial status effect will happen, but it will be cleared nearly instantly if your trigger action works. They include Burn, which damages you every second, Freeze, which freezes you for a set period of time, Shock, which is probably the most annoying status effect as it periodically stuns you and interrupts your actions such as attacking and photon arts. Blind, which makes you miss all of your attacks and photon arts. Poison, which is a higher dealing damage than Burn. Panic, another annoying status effect that makes you move in opposite directions, so when you press right, you move up, left, or down instead. Stun, disables all movements for a set period of time and attacks. And Bind, which entangles you to a spot where you can attack freely. So having Status Ailment B as your trigger actions on your mag is going to greatly improve your gameplay. Next up, it changed my weapon selection from Austere to Atlas. Since Lifesteal is an S4 augment and Austere only covers 1, 2, and 3, then you cannot have Lifesteal on your Austere weapon. Lifesteal for me is very game changing and beneficial for fast attackers like Ranger and Gunner. For slow attackers, its use is greatly decreased, so Austere can still be good for you. For me, I might go to Atlas EX, but if the Liberate series comes around about the same time as the Atlas X, then I'll definitely go with the more powerful version of Novel than Liberate. Liberate is considered an endgame weapon and it has 279 more range power than the Atlas EX. Liberate also has a better potential of increased crit by 20%, increased power by 16%, and decreased PP consumption by 15%. That comparing to the Atlas EX, which has a potential of increased power by 10% and survive one fatal attack with 1 HP and restores your health at regular intervals afterwards. Remember that the potential only happens once per game, so in a boss battle it's only going to trigger one time, and in my opinion it's pretty bad for endgame content. On top of this, Liberate is only one of the very few weapons that have an S4 augment slot, and for me, my launcher's endgame weapon will be Liberate. I will be getting this on both my launcher and rifle and aim for an IR rifle when it gets available. The Steel series is still extremely good, but this S4 slot Lifesteal cannot be equipped on the Steel, so I'm going to be changing my endgame weapons to IR and then ultimately the Crass assault rifle. If you can get this augment on your weapon, get it, as it's an absolute game changer. Don't go out and buy the Val Ars, the only weapon that has Lifesteal, because that price will drop dramatically. It's currently around 14 million on ship 1, and on October 14th it's going to be available and easily obtainable in the collection folders. Lastly, since Lifesteal is so good, you can now change up your skill tree. For example, if you have a hunter subclass like I do, you can now get rid of automate or lower its level so you can maximize other skills instead. What this skill does is it uses a mate when your health is below 50%. At level 10, it's a 100% chance every time you reach 50% health, it's going to heal you with a mate. With this maxed, I've noticed I would get healed at times and waste my mates when I could have just used Lifesteal instead to get from low health to max health. So what I'm going to do now is lower the point attribution and focus more on damage or defense. And that's it for this video. If you liked this video and it helped you out, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos. Thank you all for tuning in and listening, and until next time.